Well, hello. Hello, hi, it is me, Desai. Small time Didi, you're a Khadi, and these are very internet, and Akastracha and Vakalau Yala. Yala, Rakhadi, sorry for not putting up the tag when she said it was going to be up. I was hacked once on this account with like, have you seen? I'm guessing it was like a little baby hacker, and they were learning, and they were like, oh, okay, let's try this one. But like, the account logs me out sometimes just so that I log back in. And I never remember. I always have to reset the thing. I don't know what's wrong with me, but today I made sure to like screenshot, do stuff. So I remember what like the login details of that. That's why I didn't put it up yesterday. I'm sorry about that. And the day got away from me. Like she's self-employed, a lot is going on. Okay, with her Khadi, I'm sorry. And like I didn't know. I mean, I said, tell me about the driving, but goddamn. Oh. Let's get into it. I looked up how long, like what's the lifespan, if you would like, of the South African marriage. And the most recent article was from News 24. It was from 2022. And the numbers were from 2021. Were from, let's say 2021. And they said like 4 in 10. Of South African couples, I'm so sorry, you guys, end up in divorce. It's almost 50, so that's not good. It's not surprising. And in the article, they listed some things. I'm gonna what is it? Link. Wow, I'm having a day. Hey. I'm going to link the article so you guys could see, but I want us to talk about the reasons because I actually don't think it's just a marriage thing. It's just I can't exactly look up like the average breakup rate. Like, what is that? But the marriage one in particular was interesting to me because I was wondering why people are still in pursuit of this thing where I feel like on average, there was a time where people were lasting exactly 3 years. And I was really interested in seeing, okay, why are we still so obsessed with this thing? Is it working? When we do say it's working, is it really working? But then it's just, we're begazelling. What's going on? But when I saw these reasons that were listed here, these are everyday relationship things. Obviously, I expected that to be the case, but like it just made for a broader conversation. Like we don't need to keep it around marriage and stuff. Remember I told you guys in the video where I'm like, I'm your guy's girl bestie. Like you know the guy you're dating. I have a guy bestie and these people don't like me, which is fine. Because I also say to you guys, like I don't really put myself out there to try and bond with them. And the reason for that is because the relationships don't last. They don't last. And I can't be like besties with this one tomorrow and then like Batalana. And then tomorrow he's like, it's this one. Now I have to be like entering with a new one. Like, oh my God, no. My feelings aren't, I can't. So that's why I don't bother to make friends with these people. So because they're not lasting. The marriages aren't lasting. The relationships aren't lasting. And they list here. I don't think this is in any particular order. Like I don't think it's in like order of import because it just says here are 10 common causes of divorces according to Dlamini. There's a doctor that they or a psychologist that they had list these. So they're not in like ranking as in this is the number one cause of divorce. But I don't know. They seem like they could be though. Because the first one is communication. How many talking stages have you ended in the last 3 hours? It's like pulling teeth. Why can't men converse? Also, resist the urge to type, oh, they do it for the person they really want to be with. No, they love bomb and they can pretend to be something that they're not for like a space of time if they're trying to get something out of you. They don't like anybody. They barely like themselves. They don't wash properly. So there's no way they like anybody. So I don't give me that. I also think it's such a cop-out when people say that, like, when a man really likes somebody, I feel like it gives men excuses to show up is less than what is expected, and the excuse is this built in, or if he really likes you, he would. But he's stringing you along, right? Like he's giving you just enough rope for you to stick around and like still make you look crazy at the same time. Like the gaslighting that is dating these dudes, guys, we're actually going through a lot, like as a collective. But the communication one, they don't want to talk about shit. They don't want to talk about their feelings. They don't want to talk. And it's not like they've got like deep relationships. Like they're not going to their mates and offloading. And because, you know, that's not some gay shit. Like that's not manly. Do you know who the manliest men are out there? The gays. Them fuckers also don't talk about shit. I have one. I was like literally to him the other day, one of my friends, and he happens to be gay. I was like to him the other day, babe, I have another friend who's also gay, but we cry together. Like it's our thing. We are very, very sensitive creatures, he and I. And I remember when it came up that we cried together, the other one looked at us like, oh, you're fucking crazy. Looked at us like, y'all crying together. Said it. You guys cried together. Like, first of all, why are you crying? Why are you crying? What's his star sign? He's in Feb. Is that Aries? Anyway, yeah, he was looking at us like we're freaking crazy. Why are we crying together? Me and that one are so sensitive though. Like we just be crying, like honestly. And then like I said to him the other day, you have such a wall. Like when it's time to be vulnerable about anything, it's like a video game. I literally say to him, it's like block stacking. Like the wall goes up like in real time in front of your eyes. He's not doing none of that shit. He's not. And I don't know what that's about. They don't want to talk about anything. And like they try to make you feel like, again, resist the urge. Oh, they just want, they talk to their boys. They don't. Men don't have strong bonds. They just have like history. Like they might have longevity. They might have common interests or not even. They just were playing soccer together as kids and they've stayed like friends and stuff. There's no depth there. Like they don't have refuge. It's also why, and this is the thing about centering men and all of that decentering stuff. It happens even outside of romantic interests. Like I find that guys who have, what is happening? Oh, the sun is setting. It's about 4, so it's hitting me funny. Give me a minute. Oh, yeah. I was saying there's no depth, guys. Like that could be his boy, like it's his boy. Like, and they don't tell each other much, really. Like they tell each other some stuff, but like I see it with the guys in my life. It's like I was on the centering stuff. Yes, like you have to be careful, even like me with a guy bestie, not to labor too much there. Labor just the right amount that they're laboring back for you. Luckily, okay, listen, mine is a headache. I don't even want to lie. The one I got stuck with is a headache, but I love the kid. Like, I love the boy, and man. But honestly, unalipuleta live for me. Like, because I remember I told you guys that I'm such a difficult person to parent. I think I can also be a difficult person to be friends with. Like, honestly. Not for my girlfriends, though. I feel like they get the best of me. He gets, like, really brash me sometimes. Poor guy. You see what I've just done? Stupid. But anyway, men aren't, like, they don't have that depth. It's not there, and it will never be there because they don't have access to... Like, they don't even have the language, or they don't want to say that they're feeling certain things. And we know how it happens. Like, we understand, you know, it's not manly. It's this and it's not that. And then we end up with the kinds of numbers we have of men saying that they're lonely and men attempting to do things to themselves because communication is just a problem. And I'm not even suggesting that there aren't women with communication problems because I know a few. Okay. But it's a man thing, and they want you to shut up and go away. They do, like, if you, and then they're like, you're nagging, but you're trying to get this person to talk about their feelings, and they say you're nagging. Why are we attracted to these people? Like, I need this studied, because it has no sense in it whatsoever. And we're never gonna finish the video. I'm still on the first point, infidelity, but we knew, right? My man would never. Not all men. Letoga, defending these creatures. Not all men. Just because somebody hurt you, just because that happened in your previous relationship, it doesn't mean it will happen in. And you know what? I'm not even saying the girls are doing it, but that's not my ministry now, is it? Like, and also, like, I don't know if it's my environment, like, because I have small town Didi, right? Like, I speak from this very particular perspective of being a small township girl, right? Like, you know, but cheating is rife. It's regular. People make babies and, like, while married, and, like, nobody leaves. Like, so that's 6, because it's 4 out of 10. That's 6 that stay married. They don't say happily. They just say they stay married longer than 5 years. I think is that what they say? I never to think this. I can just go back and read it, man. Get married. 4 out of 10 would end before the 10-year mark. Amar la pusha. Somebody asked me what language I speak. I think I replied. I can't remember if it's the second time they asked, or if it was somebody else. I think I've said this, like, like, that's my home language. The third is finances, because the guys are broke. There are a lot of brokies who make financially, like, irresponsible decisions. Divorce happens when you find that one partner is secretive about their income or spend. Oh la la. Dipiri, aren't you guys one or something? A man shall leave his ntontoni and what. Divorce also happens when one party in the marriage has neglected their financial responsibility. I know of men who, like, Baba Tariste maintenance. Like, I know of men who the wife has had to go to the maintenance court and they live in the same house. Like, not even as a joke. I know of men who don't want to buy groceries or do anything in the house, and nobody really knows what they do with their money. They're doing number 2. They're facilitating number 2, infidelity. Okay? I'm just saying. To the point that the other party feels they are overburdened with financial responsibilities of the home. Women. Have you noticed how women have chronic headaches and they cut their hair? They just start doing stuff because by marriage. And then Nalibululu, we look at this man and the home he has, and we're like, oh my God, like, that could be me. I'm so deserving. Wow. And then you go there and you think you're about to steal somebody's baller husband. Can't you're just inheriting debt, lala. The wife was the one keeping everything together. You are falling in love with a skoloto. Shame. Number 4, religious differences. See, me, personally, I think I'm going to struggle with this in partnership because I am not willing to budge, and I live in, like, a predominantly, like, Christian space. A lot of people believe in, and I'm not willing to come back around. And people think I will, you know. There are people in my life who are like, oh my God, you really think? I'm like, I do not miss that dude. Like, I don't, that's the thing about it, where I'm like, even in my most stressful moments, like when I'm in despair, there's nothing about me that yearns for, like, that, what do we call it? Like, that says I must pray to that particular God. And like, it doesn't happen to me. Like, I don't ask God why. I don't. I don't have to ask anybody why or anything why, because why not? Like, that's life. Like, do you understand? So I feel like I'm going to struggle with religious differences because I've mentioned to you guys that my parents, like my dad was like, the guy with the African like practices and stuff. And then my mom was like the girl who was raised very Lutheran. And then they made it work somehow. But I actually think it only works, and people agree with me, it only works when the woman is willing to give more to the situation, or isn't as staunch in her beliefs, and the children will probably adopt the father's belief system, or she'll teach them both, because women are responsible for perpetuating culture, right? Because we do all the teaching and the child rearing and all of that stuff that is apparently considered not labor when it's convenient. But that's not the point. With my parents, my mom, like, nice little Christian girl, yes, but she's not like, I really think the girl just like her man a little bit more. Like, she's like, whatever, like, these kids will figure it out. Like, what do y'all believe in now? Okay, cool. Like, like, honestly, like, I don't think she was ever that. And she was raised proper in church, like proper Lutheran, right? I would know, my grandmother raised me for the first 6 years of my life, and I was raised very Lutheran, right? And I carried it with me. I still sing the hymns, by the way. They calm me and they remind me of my grandmother and my time at church, the pleasant times. And a lot of them were very pleasant for me, actually. I don't really have church hurt like that, but that's a conversation, right? So the religion, and then my dad was also the way he was. I really just think, I look back now, I'm like, I wish I'd paid more attention to my parents, like how they just made things look like life was happening. Like, and I'm finding these things to be like such immense sacrifices. And I think it's probably because I'm coming up in a time where I feel like I'm being asked to give a lot more than I'm being offered. Do you understand? Like, they didn't step on each other's toes, and there was no making fun of the other person's belief system. And if we're not Tugula this weekend and we're Paso guy, my mom wasn't like, no, my kids are not going there. We're his kids. We're going to the thing. And then when I was going to confirmation class, my dad was like, no, she's not. They just held room for each other. And it's like, you're too young to pay attention to it. But I'm finding that navigating that space, especially for somebody who was like raised Christian and previously and all of that stuff, when I partner, people think I'm going to come back around, because men desperately need you to be Christian, because a lot of the be of like Abrahamic faith, a lot of the manipulation and all that stuff that have women stuck in funny situations are baked into those belief systems. So they understand that the bulk of the work has been done for them already. So they'll like, I want a God-fearing woman. I be like, I need somebody who's going to pray for me. Why? Because we're back to number one, right? Lack of communication. You can't even talk to God yourself, bitch. Like, you need me to do it for you. Like everything else. Fuck out of here. Absence of sex. The strokes are weak. I don't even know. This happens over time though, right? Like, I feel like when wanting to be physical with somebody is informed by all these other things. It's like, if the monies are janky, so that's the finance stuff at number 3. And if like we're having all this like source of contention with the religious stuff, and then the communication, or they strain, right? If all those things, I don't think the sex never goes out the window by itself. These other factors end up causing us not to want to touch each other. That's what really happens. And also, I personally feel like we don't communicate our sexual needs. We don't. Like, there's this idea, and I blame movies. I think I've shared this with you guys also, but I blame movies. I feel like the way they shoot sex scenes is made to, it's right, it's the song. It's like a symphony. It's like everybody knows what to do. Like, your body knows where to go, and you just like, you topple over, and it's so gentle. And in real life, when my hair is down, I'm managing a lot, and sometimes I have to stop and tie my hair or whatever, because it's just like it's stopped being hot, now it's in the way. And it's like, in the movies, that's not like everybody's just, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, so there's no communication. There's this idea that people just know how to sex, like it's about head, like we know, and we don't. Like, we actually don't. Like, we don't. Just ask the person, is this working out how I'm doing it? Right? Asking, I've found, creates room for the conversation to happen. It makes it easier. It's like, if you're also feeling dissatisfied with something, I think open the conversation up by asking what this other person needs, instead of, because it comes out very harsh. Like, there's a build up when you're not being satisfied, and then when it comes out, it's very harsh. Like, I'm so sick and tired of you not giving me head, or whatever the issue is, or it's too much teeth. It's like, but there's a gentler way of doing it. There has to be. But I feel like the absence of sex is usually born out of all of the other things, just creating a situation where you don't want to be touched. You just don't. Conflict with the in-laws. Wow. Yabona, you guys who don't protect your wives from your crazy unfulfilled mothers, who have made you their surrogate husbands, your loser siblings who feel entitled to your things and are gonna fight your wife, and because you especially you breadwinner kinds, when you're like the elder son or the son that made it out, and for a while you were able to take care of home, but now you've built a life with somebody else, and you're looking to invest in this household, the people you've made with this other person. That contention, or when you marry somebody whom they think is not good enough for you because you're so amazing, even though we know you can't do number one, the basics, you can't even communicate, but your mom just sees a lingeloi. So what can we say? Even with the guys, and this one is hard for me because I'm such an oversharer. I've realized I've done this in the past. Saying things about your man to people when you're not willing to sit in that shit later. If you want people to just like quickly be like, by fitisha that thing, like, it's not gonna work out like that. If I'm sharing something, I can probably sit in my shit. Like, I can probably sit in it later. But they're not protecting your spouse. When it's the holidays, there's all of this expectation for this person to do all of this labor. Mind you, Manabat has been working the whole year, getting up working the whole year, and they finally just want their body to rest and sleep in like everybody else. But there's all of this expectation, Yamagoti, waking up at weird hours in the AMs and with brooms and stuff, and you're hoping the mother-in-law is back because she needs to, she was busy in the evening. She needs to come back with the broom, and like you don't get up too early because like, oh my God. But it's like, you need to protect your spouse. And I find that a lot of men, because we're back to the communication, right? The boundaries aren't there, and your wife or your partner ends up becoming the enemy, or because you would not put your foot down because you can't stand to not be liked, right? You need to be in everybody's good graces, or sacrifice. That is not at her house. That is she cannot use the bass in her voice over there. There's no way she can defend herself and come off looking good. It's not going to pan out well for her. Okay. And every woman is thinking, okay, fine. Now, when I have kids, will my kids be treated well here? Or am I that in law where they're like, oh, you're my way? Do you understand? Stop doing that. Stop trying to be liked by, like, your mom can't like really disown you like that anyway. Like, you're a boy. They think their boys are like everything. My mom's favorite is my brother. I bet you could tell. Workaholism. Who's doing all of this? They don't like to work that hard. They don't. I feel like this is brought about by lifestyle creep, though. Like, I feel like when people get together, they now start thinking they have more money than they actually do because it's a 2-income household, and you do. Like, on paper, you do, but the lifestyle creep, you move up a little bit in your taste, in the things you like to do, but then you over leverage. Like, you actually think you have more than what you have just because it's now combined. And I feel like what I've seen happen is that somebody then, now this life has ballooned, right? It's now a lifestyle. You're now a yummy mommy. It's giving mommy club. You're driving this car. The kids are going to this school, and this is somebody has to pick up extra shifts, and somebody has to stay extra like hours at work, because it's now the look. I feel like most of the times this is how it really happens. It's hard for like a public servant to really be a workaholic like that because the hours are set. So I feel like this is more like the corporate people who are putting in the work and working extra hours on projects, so they try to look good to the bosses and things of that nature. And those people tend to do all of that lifestyle, Bryanston, like creep type shit. Like that, it happens to them there. And now the person is spending all of this time at work to maintain this life that they don't get to live with you. And you're over at the house feeling lonely, but you still want the nice stuff. But the nice stuff is brought about from them spending less time with you. But you also, I've been seeing a lot of honestly, they tried to warn us about wanting to date a so-called high value man, like a person who's done really well and they're working, it never goes off. They try to warn us that if you're the kind of person like Didi who requires a lot of like time, attention, reassurance, like these things are my vibe. Do you understand? If you require all of those things, a marriage with this kind of person is not going to last. We wonder why highly successful people keep getting divorced, and they marry this one and they get divorced. You get lonely. The stuff does not fill you up anymore, but at the same time, you still need the stuff. Like it's a very odd thing that happens there. I've seen a lot of TikToks of people downsizing the cars, and they still driving like really pretty cars or like whatever, but they had, again, over leveraged because you seem to think you have more going on than what you actually do. That's just, I don't think that's real. I haven't made you guys such a long video in such a long time. With drug and alcohol abuse, I can see that happening. I can see, especially the alcohol bit, because there's an acceptability about the use of alcohol to numb. It's a socially acceptable drug, even though it is so dangerous. We've had this conversation. And guys, somebody drinking excessively, like for stretches or consistently, like every day, before you get to the house, you got to stop at the bar and have a couple and then come home. And then it's like, I'm never with you because I'm always with the intoxicated version of you. I see that. Priorities, when both parties are not aligned and on the same page about what they want to achieve in the relationship, they may drift apart and decide to go their separate ways. This happens a lot, I feel, with younger couples, or with this thing they do where they marry a younger woman or whatever, and then she comes into old age, she realizes that she actually wants to do this career thing. She doesn't want to just stay home and be Mrs. Mamang. It's not fulfilling for her. but many other ways, I suppose. Sometimes you guys start off on the same page. One of you gets relaxed, right? And you feel comfortable in this life, and the other one is still very ambitious. And when they like putting pressure on you, you feel like, what the fuck? Like, why is this not enough? And they want more, right? They want more, which will always create problem number 7, workaholism. There's no bad, like, rotalana, mafeleloni, it doesn't matter. And then number 10 is abuse. This is why I was like, I don't think it's in any kind of particular order, because 10 being abuse in here, femicide, South Africa, wow. But honestly, now that I'm like in real time, I see how we are, especially because this is about marriage, women are encouraged to endure. Like, we are, we're prepared to be abused. We're primed and ready for it. We don't even see it as that. And obviously, guys, just getting up and leaving, and why didn't you just leave? I think we know better by now. We don't use that kind of language anymore. It's never quite that simple, is it? So I see why that would be the last thing. Even if I'm saying this is not in that order, I see it. Women endure. Women sacrifice and endure and feel like that is their duty. That's their role as wife. That's so excited you mean. Like, I must aspire to hlugumeziwa. Then y'all like to sit around and also bond about it. Like, is it worth it though? Is it? Mutaba akute miriri, like okate miriri, because you're so fucking stressed. You don't even want to figure out how to wear your hair. And there's nothing wrong with cut. I'm not even saying that women shouldn't cut their hair, but some of you, we can see why you cut the hair. It's not because, no, you were just eliminating one less thing to do. And then you buy like basic dresses. We love a good capsule wardrobe, but like, you don't want to think anymore. You don't want to figure out what to wear in the morning. And you don't want to figure out how to comb your hair. But that's it. Again, I don't feel like these are just like strictly for like married people. I think that's just why across the board, I feel if we fix the first one, that communication, it lends itself to everything. This might actually be in the right order. It lends itself to literally every little thing here. Finances require you to communicate. The infidelity, if it's an issue of you're feeling dissatisfied here or something is wrong, you gotta communicate that, right? All of it. Yeah. If we fix that first one, I think we should be okay. But other people don't have their words and other people do. I have somebody in my life who I love dearly, woman, and she's always asking me, oh my God, y'all gotta talk about everything. So I'm not even saying it's just the men, but because I know we're not gonna fix it, the other reason, honestly, the divorces are happening, we know it's because women just have the option to go. They can make their own money now, they're less reliant on the men and stuff, and the men have not, there's been no movement, nothing happening for the guys in terms of like self-development and coming to understand that there's been a little bit of like an evolution here, you know, come with us. They're a little bit left behind. Anyway, bye.